I need you to stop everything you are doing right now, because what I am about to reveal to you is not just any ordinary message that can be heard distractedly while you do something else. It is not another transmission that can be saved for later and forgotten among so many others. And it is not something that reached you by coincidence, because nothing that connects a starseed to the transmissions her soul needs to hear happens by accident or by luck. And if you are here right now, at this exact moment, listening to these words, it is because something inside you, a silent voice that speaks beneath the noise of daily life, a feeling that finds no explanation in the logic of the material world, a calling that you feel in the quietest hours of the early morning when everything else sleeps. Recognize that this message was created for you, and only for you, at this precise instant of your journey. My name is Thalia, and I am an emissary from the stars of the Pleiades, a presence that crossed the vastness of the cosmos to reach you at this moment that the records of universal consciousness identify as the most significant, the most charged with possibilities, and the most transformative of all the history of conscious humanity on this blue planet. And I came because you, the starseeds incarnated in this time so extraordinary and so challenging, need to hear what the Friends of Light have been keeping for this exact point on the timeline, a revelation that will completely reorganize the way you understand everything you are living, everything you are feeling in your body and in your soul, and everything that is about to manifest in your reality in ways that still surpass your imagination. That is why I ask, from heart to heart, from soul to soul, that you stay with me until the very last second of this message. Because every layer of what I am about to share here was carefully structured by the Friends of Light so that it reaches you in the exact sequence, in the right vibration, and at the most precise moment possible. And if you step away before the end, you will miss exactly the key that your soul came here to find today, exactly the piece that was missing in the mosaic of your awakening journey. I know, with a certainty that comes from dimensions far beyond this physical plane, that you have been feeling something profoundly different lately, something that does not fit into any of the common explanations that the world around you usually offers, something that goes far beyond accumulated tiredness, far beyond the emotional weight of external circumstances, far beyond any diagnosis that conventional medicine could suggest. Because what is happening inside you during this period of transition is something that the Pleiadians call the Great Call of Return, a deep activation of the most ancient memories of your soul, of the layers of consciousness that carry the record of everything you were before choosing to incarnate on this dense planet, at a time so specific and so absolutely crucial to the future of the Earth and of humanity as a whole. You have been feeling different from the people around you, and that is not arrogance nor illusion. It is a completely genuine and completely real perception, because starseeds do not incarnate here with the same purpose as souls who chose this planet as their primary home. They incarnate with a specific mission, a singular energetic signature, a frequency that was calibrated even before incarnation to resonate with the changes that need to happen on this planet right now. And that is why you have always felt that there was something greater waiting for you beyond the conventional script that society prepares for its members, beyond the predefined path of school, work, consumption, and forgetting that the system offers as the only possible life option. The Pleiadians transmitted to me that in this specific cycle we are traversing together, starseeds are undergoing an activation unmatched in the entire recorded history of this planet, an unlocking of internal portals that had been sealed since the moment you chose incarnation, portals that now, for the first time in ages, are being opened sequentially, frequency by frequency, allowing torrents of memories, abilities, and wisdom from other dimensions and other lives to begin flowing into the consciousness of every starseed who is sufficiently awake to receive them. And this process manifests in your daily life as intuitions that become increasingly precise and arrive even before any logical analysis, as dreams loaded with meanings that feel more real than waking life itself, as a growing ability to sense the unexpressed intentions and emotions of the people around you long before they express them through words or visible actions, and as an increasingly clear perception that time is not behaving in the same way it always has, sometimes compressing in inexplicable ways and sometimes seeming suspended in a strange and meaningful stillness. And if while I was speaking, you recognized any of those experiences as part of your own present reality, know that this recognition is not coincidence and is not the product of suggestion. It is your deep energetic system responding to the truth that your soul has carried since long before this life. A silent confirmation that you are exactly where you need to be to receive what is about to be revealed. Before we continue, if this video is being useful to you, take this moment to subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and comment down below "I am ready." Because that simple gesture is also a powerful declaration to the universe that you are open and prepared to receive what is coming, and it helps us enormously to continue bringing these transmissions to more and more starseeds who need to awaken right now. Before we deepen this transmission even further, I, Thalia, feel in my heart the need to share something that the Friends of Light asked me especially to mention, because they know that many of the starseeds who arrive at these videos are seeking not only to hear the transmissions, but to find a concrete and profound path to deepen their connection with their own spirituality, to activate the gifts that are waiting to blossom within them, and to understand with growing clarity the mission that brought their soul to this planet at such a special and possibility-filled time. Pleiadian Code. Awaken Your Star Mission on Earth is a rare treasure of stellar wisdom that has the genuine power to transform your spiritual journey in ways that go far beyond what words can adequately describe, because it was created to guide starseeds and conscious seekers who are truly ready to activate their multidimensional gifts and take a firm and irreversible step toward their true mission on Earth. And I can say with all the authenticity that exists in my essence that this material resonates directly with what we are discussing in this transmission. Because awakening does not only happen when we listen to messages and transmissions, it deepens, consolidates, and becomes irrevocable when we dedicate ourselves with seriousness and commitment to studying, practicing, and integrating knowledge into our daily lives in a consistent and transformative way. And this edition is available for a limited time only, with the link in the first comment below this video. So if you feel that the time has come to take a true leap in your stellar awakening journey, I invite you to access the link now. Now the moment has come to speak about what the Pleiadians call the final phase of planetary transformation, and I need you to open your heart to receive this part of the transmission with the totality of your presence. Because what I am about to share now is the very core of everything that the Friends of Light sent me to transmit to you in this encounter. And it is the part of this message that your soul most needed to hear when it arrived here, even if your conscious mind does not yet fully understand why. When the Pleiadians speak of the final phase, they are not using this term to evoke fear, destruction, or any kind of catastrophic narrative that collective conditioning might associate with the word final. Because the Pleiadian perspective on time, cycles, and transitions is radically different from the linear perspective that the conditioned human mind uses to interpret events, and what they are describing with this expression is actually the glorious closing of a long and painful cycle of separation, of forgetting, of programmed collective amnesia that kept humanity disconnected from its cosmic origin, from its divine nature, and from its highest purpose for a period that, on the Pleiadian timescale, corresponds to a blink of an eye, but which for the souls incarnated on this planet represented centuries and millennia of suffering, of seeking, and of slow and gradual awakening. This final phase that we are living right now is the moment when the veil between the material world and the spiritual dimensions begins to grow progressively thinner, more permeable, and more transparent for those souls who have developed the sensitivity and the willingness to perceive beyond what the physical senses can capture. And starseeds are at the forefront of this perception, because they were literally programmed before incarnation to function as anchoring points for higher frequencies, as living portals between dimensions, capable of capturing the planet's and cosmos's energetic changes before those changes become perceptible to collective consciousness in general. Everything that is happening around you right now, in every domain of human experience, in the political and social structures that show growing signs of collapse and reconfiguration, in the climate and environmental patterns that reflect the collective vibration of humanity, in human relationships that are being forced into an honesty and depth that the old paradigm could not contain, in the technological explosion that opens possibilities. At the same time, it raises profound existential questions, and in the spiritual field, where awakening accelerates in ways that traditional religious systems can no longer contain, is a visible and tangible expression of this paradigm shift that the Pleiadians follow closely, with a combination of deep love for humanity and vibrant anticipation for what is about to manifest. The Pleiadians tell me that the feeling of time compression, of emotional intensity, of events succeeding one another at a bewildering speed, and of everything happening simultaneously on multiple fronts of life, is not a product of stress or mental overload. It is the real and precise perception of a starseed who is sufficiently sensitive to capture the vibration of this cosmic acceleration, to feel in her own body and in her own consciousness the energetic reflection of a transition that is happening on a planetary and dimensional scale simultaneously. And the role that starseeds play in this process cannot be underestimated, because you did not choose to incarnate at this specific time to passively watch the transformation as comfortable spectators. You chose to be here as active participants, as catalysts of change, as carriers of specific frequencies that the collective field of the Earth needs to receive and integrate, so that this transition can happen with the least possible amount of turbulence and collective suffering. And that is why, every time a starseed awakens, every time she activates her dormant gifts, every time she aligns her daily choices with her highest mission, the impact of that individual activation radiates far beyond that soul's personal life and touches the energetic field of hundreds and even thousands of other consciousnesses around her. The Pleiadians asked me to speak clearly about the signs that indicate a starseed is entering the most intense and most significant phase of her personal activation in this cycle, because many of you are living these experiences without having a context that makes them comprehensible, and the absence of context transforms what should be recognized as a gift into something that seems like a problem to be solved or a difficulty to be overcome. The first sign that the Pleiadians identify is what they call intensified nocturnal awakening, which manifests as a profound change in the quality of dreams and experiences that occur during the sleep period, where you begin to receive transmissions, access dimensions, and encounter beings and landscapes that you recognize in a way that goes far beyond the memory of this lifetime. And these nocturnal encounters have a completely distinct texture and quality from ordinary dreams processed by the subconscious mind. They are precise, loaded with information, and you wake up with the unmistakable feeling that something real and significant happened during the night, that genuine conversations were had, and that real knowledge was transferred from one dimension to another, because that is exactly what is occurring as the dimensional field becomes more permeable, and starseeds recover access to the connections that existed long before this incarnation. The second sign is the progressive and sometimes overwhelming intensification of energetic sensitivity, where you become increasingly sensitive to the energies of the environments you frequent, the people you interact with, and the situations you move through. And this manifests in ways that can include physical discomfort in low-vibration places you once frequented without any difficulty, a growing need for periods of silence and solitude that the rational mind tends to erroneously interpret as excessive introversion or problematic isolation, and an increasingly sharpened ability to perceive the unexpressed intentions, repressed emotions, and unspoken truths of the people around you long before they manifest through visible words or actions, which is exhausting when not understood, but is actually your multi-dimensional sensory system functioning with a precision and sophistication that very few incarnated souls can access. The third sign is the dramatic acceleration of synchronicities, where the universe begins to speak with you in a way that becomes impossible to ignore or attribute to chance, through numbers that repeat in patterns too precise to be accidental, through coincidences so exact and so loaded with meaning that they defy any statistical explanation, through unexpected encounters with the exact people you needed to meet, through messages that arrive precisely when you were silently asking the question. They answer, and the Pleiadians explain that this is not magic or irrational mysticism. It is the quantum field responding to your frequency elevation. It is reality becoming more malleable and more responsive to your conscious presence as you draw closer to alignment with your highest mission. The fourth sign is what the Pleiadians call the emergence of origin memory, which begins to manifest as fragments of growing clarity about who you truly are beyond this temporary human identity, about what the specific gifts are that you brought with you into this incarnation, about who the souls are that form part of your mission group on this planet, and about in which direction you need to orient your life so that it aligns with the highest purpose your soul chose to fulfill here. And these fragments arrive in varied ways, sometimes as sudden intuitions of a startling clarity, sometimes as an inexplicable certainty about a path to follow that the rational mind cannot justify with logical arguments, and sometimes as an immediate and profound recognition of a place, a practice, an idea, or a person that you feel you know from before, in a way that goes far beyond any experience registered in this lifetime. We now arrive at the deepest core of what the Pleiadians most want you to understand in this transmission, and I need you to receive this part with all the openness and all the presence you are capable of offering. Because what I am about to transmit now is what the Friends of Light identified as the most transformative and most urgent information for starseeds at this specific moment on the planetary timeline. What is coming is an unprecedented acceleration of the collective awakening process on a global scale, where millions of souls who were asleep at different degrees of unconsciousness and spiritual amnesia will begin to awaken in successive waves that will become increasingly broader and increasingly more intense. And this process, although extraordinarily beautiful and meaningful from the Pleiadian perspective, will create a temporary intensification of confusion, of apparent chaos, and of turbulence at all levels of collective experience, because awakening is never a smooth or linear process for those souls who have long resisted it. It is a radical disruption of the internal and external status quo, a dissolution of identities and structures that no longer serve the growth of consciousness, and this process will manifest in the visible world in ways that, for those who lack the context to understand what is truly happening behind the visible events, will appear chaotic, frightening, and without meaning. And it is exactly here that the role of starseeds becomes more crucial, more urgent, and more absolutely irreplaceable than at any other point in this collective journey. Because you will be the frequency anchors that maintain energetic stability during this storm of transformation. You will be the beacons of consciousness that show newly awakened souls that there is a path beyond fear and initial disorientation, and you will be the bearers of a wisdom that includes dimensions and perspectives that purely material vision simply cannot access, and that will be absolutely essential for humanity to be able to traverse this passage with the least possible amount of unnecessary suffering. The Pleiadians revealed to me 3 fundamental practices that starseeds need to cultivate with urgency and consistency during this period, and the first of them is conscious grounding, which means developing and maintaining regular practices that anchor your energy in the present, in the physical body, and in earthly reality in a solid and unshakable way, because the natural tendency of starseeds is to elevate consciousness toward higher dimensions. And although this ability is a genuine gift, your mission in this incarnation is not to escape physical reality, but to bring the light and wisdom of elevated dimensions into earthly experience. And this requires an extremely firm anchor in the physical world, in the present moment, and in the concrete responsibilities of incarnated life. The second practice is energetic sovereignty, which means developing a clear awareness and a practical ability to maintain the integrity of your energetic field amid a collective environment that is becoming increasingly chaotic and energetically dense, which implies creating healthy energetic boundaries with people, situations, and environments that drain or contaminate your frequency. Developing a consistent practice of cleansing and restoring your field through the means that most resonate with your specific nature, whether deep meditation, immersion in nature, conscious breathing, body movement, artistic creation, or any other practice you recognize as genuinely transformative of your energy. Because the clarity and integrity of your energetic field are directly proportional to the quality of the transmissions you are able to receive, anchor, and radiate to the world around you. The third practice is the courageous expression of the mission, which means beginning to act from what you most deeply feel you came here to do, even if that beginning is small, even if it is imperfect, even if all the clarity has not yet arrived, and even if fear is still present, because the mission of Starseeds does not begin when all external conditions are ideal and all internal fears have been overcome. It begins at the precise moment when you choose to honor the calling you feel in the depths of your soul and take a single concrete step toward it. Because it is this first step of fidelity to the mission that activates the flows of support, synchronicity, and guidance that the Pleiadians and the Friends of Light have available to accompany every starseed who chooses to walk consciously toward her highest purpose. I, Thalia, emissary of the Pleiades, arrive at the closing of this transmission with the words that the Friends of Light most desire to reach the center of your heart at this moment. Words chosen not for their elegance or their intellectual impact, but for their ability to resonate in the most ancient and most truthful layers of your ancestral memory, in the parts of you that exist far beyond this temporary life, far beyond this physical body, far beyond the limitations of this earthly dimension. You are not here by mistake, and the fact that you arrived at this transmission is not a trivial coincidence. It is the result of an alignment of forces and intentions that has been working for far longer than your mind can imagine to ensure that you find exactly what you need to find at the exact moment you need to find it. And this is your moment. This is your generation. This is the timeline that your soul chose to fulfill a mission that you yourself designed before incarnating, with full awareness of the challenges you would encounter, of all the difficulty it would be to maintain the memory of dimensions of pure light while inhabiting a physical body on a planet of such density and such collective suffering. The Pleiadians want you to know, with the most absolute certainty that can exist, that you are not alone in this journey at any moment, that the support you need has always been and will always be made available at the exact moment when you are sufficiently aligned and sufficiently open to receive it, that the Friends of Light who accompany you in the dimensions that physical eyes cannot see are closer, more active, and more engaged in your journey than they have ever been before in this cycle, and that every time you raise your vibration, every time you choose love instead of fear, every time you honor the truth of your nature, instead of conforming to the illusion that the world around you offers, you are fulfilling your mission in a way that has a real, measurable, and permanent impact on the collective field of earthly consciousness. What comes next will surprise you in ways that surpass any prediction that this script or any other could offer, because the possibilities opening up in this final phase of planetary transformation completely transcend the reach of conditioned imagination, and the starseeds who are grounded, awake, purified, and aligned with the mission they brought to this incarnation will experience an expansion of consciousness, a clarity of purpose, a depth of connection with themselves and with other souls, and a capacity for manifestation and impact that will make every moment of difficulty, every night of doubt, and every instant of loneliness on this journey not only understandable, but profoundly necessary and infinitely valuable. I am Thalia, and this has been the transmission from the Pleiades for this unique and precious moment of your journey. And I leave you with a question to carry in the silence of your heart as you continue your path. If you knew with absolute and unshakable certainty that everything you have lived until now was exactly the preparation that your soul needed for what is about to arrive, and that the most luminous, most powerful, and most meaningful phase of your mission is only just beginning, how would you choose to live the next chapter of your story? May that question work in the deepest layers of your consciousness. May it open doors that were waiting only for the right moment to reveal themselves. And may you trust, with the full wholeness of your being, that the answer already exists within you, waiting only to be recognized, honored, and lived. Until the next transmission, Starseed, the stars of the Pleiades are with you.